Today, we're diving into phone anxiety. And listen, this isn't just about it being some funny little quirk you have. We're going to get into why that feeling of dread, you know the one, when your phone rings, might actually be tied to something way, way deeper from your past.
I mean, have you really felt it? That sudden jolt, that little spike in your heart rate? It's a surprisingly common feeling, and honestly, it's the exact thing we're going to unpack right now.
So picture this. You're just sitting there, maybe on the couch, and your phone lights up. And for a second, everything just stops. You stare at the screen, your body gets tense, and you just can't bring yourself to answer. It's like a full-body system freeze. And right after that freeze comes the dread. Your mind just starts racing, right? You're already playing out the conversation, thinking about how much energy it's going to take, what problems you might have to solve. It's this massive wave of exhaustion, and you haven't even said hello.
So, you do it. You hit the silence button. You put the phone face down, and the ringing stops. And in that quiet, you get this weird mix, don't you? There's this instant relief, but it's followed by this little shadow of guilt. You feel totally drained, and the conversation didn't even happen.
If any of this is starting to sound familiar, then you know it's way more complicated than just being shy or a little socially awkward. There's this whole storm happening inside that most of the time, nobody else even sees.
And that's the really tough part, isn't it? Because on the outside, ignoring a call looks like you're being flaky or rude or that you just don't care. And all that judgment from the outside, well, it just ends up fueling your own inner critic.
Okay, so what if I told you this whole reaction, this entire feeling, has almost nothing to do with the person who's calling you right now? What if the real root of it all is buried way back in the childhood that kind of ended too soon?
This really powerful idea comes from Dr. Lisa M. Hooper, and what she's saying here is that kids who seem incredibly mature for their age, they're not just old souls. It's actually a highly advanced survival skill. Their nervous system basically learned to live in crisis mode, and that became its default setting.
There's a clinical term for this, and it's called parentification. Basically, it's when a kid has to take on adult roles that they are nowhere near ready for emotionally. Just imagine being a small child who's forced to hold up something huge, like being the family peacemaker, the emotional support system, or the chief problem solver. And here is the crucial connection. That childhood operating system, the one that was built to be on high alert all the time, well, it's still running in the background of your mind as an adult, and it has a massive impact on how you deal with the world today, right down to how you feel about your phone.
You know, growing up like this, it gives you what feel like superpowers. You have this deep empathy. You can solve almost any problem. You're amazing in anticipating what other people need. But, and this is a big but, those skills came with a heavy price tag. They left you with this deep, deep exhaustion that sleep just doesn't touch, a real fear of being vulnerable, and this powerful, almost primal need to control your environment just to feel safe.
And this is why phone calls feel so threatening. A call is completely unpredictable. It's raw, it's in the moment, it demands an instant emotional reaction, and it leaves you feeling totally exposed. But a text message? That's controlled. You have time, you can think, you can plan, you can edit. For a nervous system that was trained to see unpredictability as danger, texting feels safe, and a phone call feels like a threat.
This need for control, it even bleeds into our relationships. If you grew up in a home where you were just constantly giving, always taking care of things, a partner who offers you steady, consistent love can actually feel, well, wrong. It feels uncomfortable, because that kind of stability is totally unfamiliar. The chaos of someone who is emotionally unavailable, sadly, that can feel a lot more like home.
So what do we do with all this? The really good news is that just understanding this pattern is the huge first step to changing it. The whole journey is about teaching that younger part of yourself that it's finally safe to put that weight down.
So the path forward really has a few key parts. First, you have to let yourself grieve the childhood you didn't have. Second, you start the work of untangling your sense of self-worth from how useful you are to other people. Then, you have to learn the incredibly vulnerable act of just receiving care. And finally, you have to give yourself permission to be a total beginner at this. It's a new skill, and it's absolutely okay to be clumsy with it at first.
And that brings us to the last and maybe the most important idea of all. After years and years of living in overdrive, the most radical thing you can do is just practice simple self-acceptance.
Just let that one sink in for a second. Your value isn't tied to your to-do list, or how many problems you solve, or your ability to manage everyone else's feelings. Your worth is just there. It's inherent. Just being is enough.
So I just want to leave you with this one question.
That kid who had to grow up way too fast, they did an amazing job. They were so resourceful and so brave. But they can rest now. It's safe to let someone else have a turn. So, what would it really, truly feel like to finally let go?